So hello everyone. Today we have the founders of HELPER4U, Puneet and Meenakshi with us, and we are going to just talk to them and find out about their startup and what has motivated them to start this particular startup. So welcome Puneet, welcome Meenakshi.
Thank you.
Maybe we can start off with a little bit of introduction from both of you so that our viewers can get to know who are you.
Right. So I'll start. I'm Meenakshi, and I have completed my education from JNU in Delhi. And post that, I've been working largely in the training domain with companies like NIIT, Inlingua, Piper Research, and Evolve. My last job was with TIS, Tata Interactive Systems, as their lead instructional designer. When I left that job to start HELPER4U.
Oh, that's great.
We'll talk about HELPER4U as we go along.
Sure. How about you, Puneet?
Yeah, so I am actually an electrical engineer from IT Bombay and an MBA from IIM Bangalore. Last job before HELPER4U was as the CEO of Nelito Systems, which is a Tata Group software company focused on banking. So that I was the CEO from 2013 to 2020. And in 2020, I quit Nelito to venture full-time into entrepreneurship. And HELPER4U has been taking most of my time for the last 1 year.
Oh, that's great. So before we talk about anything more, maybe a little word about what is HELPER4U and what does it do actually?
So HELPER4U is, in short, an employment exchange and an employment ecosystem for the poor job seekers looking to find work. We call it the Naukri.com for the bottom of the pyramid. So it helps the people at the bottom of the pyramid looking for jobs as A, B, C, D, E, the IRs, BIs, cooks, drivers, and everyone similar, the delivery boys, etc. Connect them directly with the employers without the need to pay money anywhere.
Okay. So in a way, you are kind of helping that section of the society which is not really that privileged or not really rich enough to pay a high amount of money to HR companies or hiring agencies, and they will still get a job by registering with your organization.
Absolutely. So this segment is the segment which is not on the on any kind of professional networks. They don't have access to newspapers. They don't have access to television. They may not be educated enough to find other avenues of jobs. So they largely have to go to either referrals or to agencies which can be exploitative. And with HELPER4U, all they have to do is enroll on HELPER4U and employers find them. So rather than them going knocking door to door finding jobs, employers find them and contact.
Okay, so I mean, going by your background, you both have been working in the corporate world, and both of you are highly educated and having lucrative jobs in the corporate sector. So, what was the motivation behind quitting those, comfortable jobs and starting a company like this, where probably you have to deal with a lot of labors and labor laws and the hiring of the underprivileged people? So what was your motivation behind?
Okay, so I'll tell my motivation because I left my job earlier and then Puneet can talk about his motivation. So we started HELPER4U not as a business, but it was actually a small project in our high-rise in Mumbai, because we realized that the problem was for the employers to find domestic workers whenever they needed one. So you would have messages on WhatsApp, people would tell security guards, send me a maid, etc. And we thought, let's start by making a database of these people. And anyone in my high-rise can find them easily. But while making the database, what we realized was that the case is not that there's a lot of jobs available and less supply. There is enough supply to feed into that demand also. But the only challenge was, how does the supply and demand meet? Right. So as employers, we always think that there are too many jobs available for the job seekers, and that is why they are not taking up our jobs. But it's the other way around. The job seekers don't have any way of reaching out to us. And then we started doing some research into the whole thing, and we found the challenges for the employers as well as the job seekers in meeting each other. So we thought, how can we help them meet each other? When I need a job, I've got so many avenues. What avenue can I give them? And that was the time when mobile was just bursting on the Indian ecosystem. Everyone was getting a mobile. So we said, let's use this mobile and connect the two sites. So it started as a hobby. It became a project. And as we started HELPER4U, it started with Made for You. It was actually named Made for You when we started. But then these maids would come and say, my husband needs a job, my son needs a job. So it became HELPER4U. And it suddenly started getting so much interest from everywhere that we thought, yes, we can do something here as a business. And that is when I left my job and started focusing full time on HELPER4U. It needed a lot of work because it was an untouched territory at that time.
Right.
There was no national player working at it. There were only small agencies working there. So I had to leave my job and do research, etc., go and meet the job seekers, meet employers to find out what to do. And then last year, Puneet left his job.
So Puneet, you were the CEO. So, and a startup is known that the founders will have to wear all kind of hats when you are a founder. So, right from doing your own marketing to getting your own business cards printed to getting your and also being the CEO or COO and doing the finances. So now you might be having a very different experience. So what was your motivation?
So when Meenakshi started, Meenakshi and I started in 2016. Meenakshi plunged into it full time, and she was at it full time, whereas I was sort of part-time from behind while still having a full-time job at Telecom. But last year when the pandemic started and this problem became very big of, migrant workers facing so much of hardships.
Right.
So then I was also sort of getting a little bored with my job. And I thought, let me plunge into it full-time because the opportunity suddenly seemed much larger last year compared to what we saw when we started. When we started, the smartphones were still very, very few in 2016.
Right.
And it was very difficult to contact the job seekers. But thanks to Mr. Mukesh Ambani, Jio really revolutionized the smartphone usage in India. And now, most of our helpers, including the ladies, have smartphones. 70 to 80% of our job seekers have smartphones. And Aadhaar card. So it is much easier to reach them through WhatsApp and find them through Facebook. Mm-hmm. Anybody who has a smartphone will definitely have two things on the smartphone. One is WhatsApp and one is Facebook. So by advertising on the Facebook, they will get to know about us. And then if we have to send them a message, we can send it through WhatsApp. So these two things actually made the whole market look suddenly much more interesting. Mm-hmm. And combined with, the last year pandemic, so much of hardship, so much of problem. So we thought, now is the time to scale it up and enable more people to get jobs. And that is what my motivation was to plunge into it full time last year.
And the base had been set for the last 4 years. It was the right time for Puneet's brand to come in also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Meenakshi had all the hard work for 4 years alone. So, it was slightly easier for me to sort of get into it and, not do a lot of dirty work, which was already done. So now it is still hard work, but still, now we have to do growth. Now we are more worried about growth than setting it up from scratch everywhere.
Right. So usually when a startup is in the initial years, they have fewer customers and they interact much more with their potential customers as well as the goods. Like in your case, the goods are the underprivileged workers and customers are the potential employers. So in the starting phase, any particular story, any particular anecdote which kind of is close to your heart regarding your startup?
So if I talk about an anecdote, this is something which told me how much impact we were making on people. A very funny story. We helped a man get a job as a driver in Bombay. And he called to tell us, job mil gaya hai mera, what should I pay you? And he said, nahi, kuch pay nahi karna hai. And he insisted, I want to pay you something.
Okay.
And we kept telling me, don't take money from you. So you won't believe it. It was unbelievable even for us. This fellow traveled to our office and he brought a mango bite for us.
Okay.
He said, "Aap kuch nahi le rahe ho. At least let me give you some sweets to eat." So that was literally brought tears to our eyes that this fellow, that job meant so much for him and he really wants to give something to us, kind of a thing. So this is an anecdote, but we have had so many beautiful stories of the kind of reach we have. I'll share a couple of them.
Sure.
One is our first worker, her name was Rajshri. So she was employed through HELPER4U. When HELPER4U had just started, maybe a month into our launch, she got one of our pamphlets, which we had distributed at a rally in a Maidan in Bombay at Ambedkar Jayanti. She got it in Akola. She got my number. She called me and she said, "I'm coming to Bombay. Please help me get a job."
Okay.
And I said, "Okay, jab aoge to aa jana mere se milne." By next morning, she was at my home with her luggage, and I was like, "Why is she at my house?" So we registered her and everything. By evening, she had got a job in Bombay for around 9,000.
Okay.
Live-in job, 9,000 rupees. 2016 is the time. Now, interestingly, last year during COVID, she got a job again through HELPER4U, and this time she traveled from Akola to Thrissur by plane, Akola to Mumbai, Mumbai to wherever. And this time her salary was 19,000 rupees.
Okay.
And today she has got a job, and that's why I'm talking about this story. Today she has got a job in Chennai because this lady in Thrissur, whatever she needed to be done was done. Okay. And today she's got a job in Chennai. She's traveling from Mumbai to Chennai on 2nd of July again. So the very fact that an uneducated lady in a small village in Akola traveled just on talking to me in 2016, then she traveled to Thrissur, which is not even her language, not spoken there. Now she's going to Chennai and her salary has been increasing. She was a widow. Her both children are now married, educated, and she's so thankful to us for having got that job. So that is the kind of reach that we have got, someone from here till here. Last year during COVID, another interesting story that I'll talk about. There's a gentleman in Chiploon. His sister was in a hospital in Mumbai. And he called us. He said, "I really need this help. I cannot travel due to the lockdown. My sister needs to be brought from from Mumbai to Chiploon. She's recuperating from COVID. Can you help me?" So we looked around and we found there were many ladies who were out of job, men were out of job, women were out of job because their household jobs were gone. So we found a nurse who had actually worked in the same hospital earlier. And she said, "You get me any work, I will do whatever you get." So from Mumbai, she got this lady discharged from the hospital, got her into an ambulance, traveled to Chiploon with her without knowing anyone in Chiploon. And in the process, what she had done, she had her own 2 children. So she hired her neighbor to take care of her children because she was getting paid more. She got all the ration pani left and told this lady, "I will pay you something to take care of my kids." She went to Chiploon for about a month, stayed there, got this lady all back on her feet, and then came back. And this gentleman was so thankful. He said, "I don't know what I would have done because there was no way my sister would have been able to travel from Mumbai to Chiploon." So who I had never heard of Chiploon before that when he called me. So those are the 2 stories. Anything Puneet wants to add?
Yeah. So one story which I'd like to add, this was quite recent. We get a lot of inquiries about taking care of parents from NRIs.
Okay.
So last month, we got an inquiry from somebody in San Francisco saying that, my father is in Bombay and he's very old And my brother also stays with him, but my brother is also not very good at health. So we need a full-time caretaker for them. Who can take care of my father and who can take care of the house.
Right.
So we managed to find somebody within 1 week for them, and they are all very happy. The lady got a job. She got a good house to stay in, good salary. And the family, the old father and his son, they got someone to take care of them. And this happened in 1 week. And the daughter in San Francisco was very happy that it happened so fast, so easily, so smoothly.
This is amazing.
And in the process, I mean, it's quite amazing. So, what we get stuck by is the reach of Helper4U.
Yes.
So people come to us from not only metros, they come to us from small towns, they come to us from outside India, and we manage to, do the job for them.
Yeah, I'm also actually very thrilled to see that same lady that Meenakshi was mentioning, she got jobs from your portal 3 times, which means that these people are also developing a brand loyalty to your portal, and they are coming back again and again when they need to change a job or if they need to upgrade in the terms of salary or their work. So this is really amazing, and I can completely relate to it. Like being a doctor, when I was in the army and working as a doctor, I was posted in Mizoram, and we did not used to take any fees from even the civilian patients used to come. So jackfruit is something which is very commonly grown in the state of Mizoram, and believe me, the number of jackfruits I used to get as gifts. Because we didn't used to take any fees because we were a government hospital, but the patients used to have that feeling to give something. So jackfruit, which is kathal, and typically, in fact, I developed the taste for that vegetable only when I started getting so many of them from the patients there. So I can completely relate to it that when people get a job, especially in the times of hardship, especially in times like COVID, they do want to they do want to give something back. They also want to kind of continue the relationship with a particular brand, especially when there's a personal touch. Like you people have been talking to these kind of underprivileged workers personally and individually. So that creates a huge impact. But at the same time, sorry, go ahead.
What I would like to mention here is about that brand thing. We have about 1 lakh job seekers now. And
Right.
all of them are by reference, because to be able to reach job seekers in far areas of India would require a lot of money to be able to go there and have feet on the street. So this 1 lakh number we have reached largely through reference only, which is a great thing.
Which is a great thing today because there's so much noise all the time created by social media advertising and Google, Facebook ads everywhere. There's a lot of noise, and to cut through that noise, in fact, nothing like a personal referral that actually helps you grow in a very, very trustworthy manner. So that's great. But what I wanted to ask from you was that, like, for any particular startup, the journey is never really very smooth. It's not like you are on the highway driving a car at a smooth pace. There are a lot of hassles. There is always the problem of money and funds for the startup. Then there are systems are not yet ready. You are not really process based in the beginning. You have to figure out the processes. So I just wanted to know that how has your entrepreneurial journey been till now, and how smooth has it been, and or how difficult has it been? Because both of you have started the startup at a point when you were matured and you understood how to do the work, compared to somebody who's 20 years old and not more on energy and less on experience. But you guys had the experience with you. So how was the journey till now?
Okay, so again, I'll take that question because mine has been a longer journey than Puneet's. So, right. So, it's been quite a roller coaster, full of highs and lows. There have been times, as I said, we did not set out to start a business, and things just kept happening. So, having left a corporate job, many times you feel very lonely as a founder of a startup. and then a startup which is in the social impact area. So yeah, there have been many times when you think, what have you done? And the kind of people that you work with at Helper4U, simple things like you don't dress up to go out. If I have to go into the slums and talk to people, I can't be wearing my fineries, etc., kind of a thing.
Right.
So, but every time there has been something weighing on us, something good happens. Either someone gets a good job or you get some recognition. For example, one fine day we get a call from our friends. We are seeing Helper4U in Akshi's full page picture in the newspapers, and we did not even know this. Suddenly we realized that Facebook had plastered my picture all over the newspapers across India. So then they invited us to San Francisco for a conference, or you get invited to other conferences, meet people, and then suddenly it starts hitting you that you are doing something where you work in a slow and steady way and you will reach somewhere. So challenges have been many. Yes, money has been a challenge. So there was a time when I worked full time during the day as a freelancer and would work at Helper4U at night. So yeah, those were also the time, and that was one of the reasons when Puneet kept working. We have 2 daughters. We had to take care of their education, etc., etc. Now they are both into their own world, so we have that time now. But there was a time when yes, money was to be thought of. And just a second. Okay, so that was a challenge. Then people would not believe that this kind of a thing could work because mobiles had just come in. People were changing their mobile numbers very often. So today we have 1 lakh data job seekers, but if we had all of the ones whom we had at that time, this database would have been much bigger. Many people have been lost because they used to change their phone numbers at that time. It's now that the numbers have stayed there.
Portability has come.
Yeah. So then for the job seekers to trust us because they have been exploited so many times by agencies, they would never believe that we do this for free for them. And same thing for employers to think that, yes, how can I hire a maid on the phone? What about her verification? What about the interviews? Now people are getting warmed up to that idea. Yes, it's like any other thing that you do. An HR calls a job seeker on the phone through a portal. I can also call a job seeker on the phone from a portal, right? And then how to do verification. So we kept coming to these problems and we kept solving them. Employers would say verification ka kya? Okay, we'll do the criminal background check. We'll do the address check for you. What about the test? During Corona, people would ask us, okay, we'll arrange for the test for you. You have to pay for it. How does a person travel from Akola to Thrissur? Okay, we'll coordinate all of this for you, but you have to pay for it. So all those challenges kept coming up. We kept learning, and one by one, the challenges are going away. So the journey has been quite exciting so far, and I think that is what pushed Puneet also to finally leave his job and take that plunge, because it's very exciting. You are doing something for the society and you are feeling happy about it. Yes. And the impact it has had on our family has been great. I can see both my daughters growing up with a lot of empathy for society around them. So great journey so far.
No, I can see that your startup has not only got the commercial prospects, but it has also got a social impact prospect, which is a great combination. Otherwise, usually we have either one. Like either we have NGOs making a social impact, or we have companies who are hardcore commercial oriented work. So it's a great combination that while the commerce is not taking a back seat, the social impact is also being made.
Yeah,
that's really great. So like going ahead, what are the future plans that you guys have? Like how are you? So like the questions which come to my mind are, one, is this thing, like you've already given the example of Thrissur and Chennai. So are you already having a pan-India presence? And how are you planning to like grow? So is it just that more number of people will join in, or are there additional services you are planning? So what is the future plan for Helper4U?
So let me take that. So one thing which we have been very conscious of is that we should build a very scalable business. The manual intervention should be low, and the dependence on people to do manual work and going to the field should be as low as possible. So it should be a platform where people come and do their work, get what they want. And, Helper4U team should have to do minimal amount of manual work to facilitate each transaction.
Right.
So that is our vision, that is our goal, that, it's like a tech platform where the job seekers come, register, the employers come, they search, find, talk to each other and hire. We should not have to do too much. So this, now keeping this in mind, we want to grow like this. Now, obviously, the job seeker is not very savvy. And, unlike a lot of other portals which handle slightly higher categories of job seekers, blue collar job seekers, not everything can be done on an app, right? Because the female job seekers, the maid servants, they are not very tech savvy. So they have to be spoken to.
True.
So we still don't meet them face to face, but we speak to them all the time. We have a call center. So we want to actually, grow in a very scalable fashion. Now, what all has to be done? One is, that whichever customers, employers hire through us, they later tell us, where were you? We never knew about you. So you guys need to advertise more. More people should know about you. Yeah. So that is on one hand. So we need to reach more employers. Then the job seekers, whatever, as Meenakshi was saying, whatever job seekers are registered on our platform, they are largely through referrals. We have not spent any money to attract job seekers to come and register. But I think now the time has come that some money will go a long way to attract more job seekers to come and register so that employers get more options.
Sure.
One of the things which we experienced during COVID is that suddenly the demand for live-in mates went up like anything.
True.
And we were short of live-in mates on our platform. So we always keep wondering, how to reach more live-in mates, to reach them and to let them know that if they can register, they can get a job.
Right.
So to reach more job seekers, to reach more employers, that is the first thing. And that needs money. And so far we have been bootstrapped. We are spending our own money. So we have been, very, very cost conscious. But if we have more money, we can spend on better visibility and we can get many more employers and many more job seekers. And as the word spreads, the trust will also improve from both sides and the conversion ratio will also improve.
Yes.
Right now we have a certain conversion ratio. And I think that will go up significantly as the visibility and the brand name improve. So that is one. The second thing is that, the engagement with the job seekers. We wish sometimes that, we could not only get them jobs, but we could also facilitate some kind of training inputs to them.
Upskilling for them.
Some kind of upskilling, not in their jobs, so to say, but in the soft skills.
Okay.
Many times the employers reject these job seekers because they talk too loudly.
Yeah.
Or they are not dressing up properly, or they don't turn up on time.
True.
Or they ask for too much money, or the salary is the first thing they ask.
Right.
They have to be sensitized कि boss जरा ठीक से बात करना है, पहले पैसा नहीं मांगना है,
नमस्ते बोलना है,
नमस्ते बोलिए, टाइम पे आइए, नहीं आ सकते तो बताइए. These simple things, if we can train through maybe videos, WhatsApp, they will go a long way in improving the employability of the job seekers.
So we are doing all of this in a small way. We have created many mobile-based videos, but we want to institutionalize them properly.
True.
That when you register, you do these, and once you have done these, we have an LMS where we can check that these have been done, then a small test. So this is where my instructional designer and training e-learning experience is being used. We are doing that, but to have a proper institutionalized kind of a thing will again require some money.
So that was the second thing, better engagement with the job seekers and giving them some training intervention. Third thing, which we are very excited about, is actually there's slightly some kind of a extension of our services into elder care and parent care.
Right. Especially when people are abroad, yeah.
Yes, people abroad and also India, people who are not staying with their parent but are worried about them all the time.
True.
Parents who are staying alone. So hiring, a maid for them, a sort of a caretaker for them. And not only that, getting medicines delivered, getting a doctor, on call, or getting lab tests done, or just having someone to talk because the parents are feeling lonely all the time.
Yes.
So we want to be able to sort of grow this business also as a strong business, with employers coming not only from India but also from outside India.
And that becomes a recurring stream of business for us because it's a monthly payment. We have an inquiry recently on which we are working. Someone needs help in multiple things. Remind his mother to take medicines on time, remind her to take food on time, to get lab tests done twice or thrice in a month, to deliver whatever needs to be done. Yes. Plus, if he needs a caretaker or if he needs to book a cab to go to the doctor, etc., etc. So then you have a monthly fees where you have a recurring payment, and if this person is a well-to-do person living either abroad or within India, the payments can be a good stream.
Sure. In fact, the whole idea of training them and at least making them, as you said, sensitized to domestic working, because I can completely relate to it, because back home, whenever, if there's a change in the domestic help for us, my mother always complains that every time a new one comes, I have to start the training from the scratch again. And by the time I train them to my satisfaction, they leave. So,
they're gone.
Yeah. So if a person is pre-trained, like what you are trying to do, he or she can join the job running. Like they don't have to be in that initial probationary phase where we have to spend a lot of time training them on the etiquette, depending on whatever the task is. But this is a really good idea. So great. So before we wrap it up, Puneet and Meenakshi, I just wanted to have a final word from you about your company and a kind of a message, because as you know, we are going to put this up on YouTube and a lot of people are going to be able to see it. So probably a small short message for the viewers.
For the investors?
Sorry?
The short message you want for investors?
No, probably for employers, and we have been talking in English mostly. So I assume that the access to this particular will be to people who are like either the employers or the people who seek your company's services. So maybe a short message for them.
Okay. So from my side, this is something which I keep telling employers. Treat your domestic help as you would treat an employee in the corporate environment, right from the hiring to retaining them and taking care of them. Interview well, have a job description in your hand, interview well. When you hire, treat them well, give them all the facilities that you want yourself in that environment. And there's no reason that you will not be able to have a good working relationship with your employee.
That's great. That's a great message. Yeah, I'll also add the word respect to it, because at least in India, we kind of make respect also conditional to the level of the job a person is doing. But I'm very sure that with all the social changes coming in, especially from companies like yours, who are making, you are actually going out of your way to even train people a little bit and to make them job ready. So this is going to definitely help in getting them more respect as well, in addition to salaries and jobs. So great. I think this has been a great conversation, and I wish you all the best for your endeavor and for your future plans. And let's stay connected. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.